We are back for Tuesday's 10-game slate. Welcome, guys. My name is DK. We're breaking down the 10-game NBA DFS slate in this video. Also cover content for player prop sites like PrizePicks, Underdog, and Parlay Play. Guys, if you're not on Parlay Play, you can use the link down below for a $100 deposit match bonus, or you can use the code DKDFS. But how it works is the player prop site, you're building out slips of player props, and you can win up to 75x your money. You can mix and match sports. They have all the sports you can think of, so again, if you guys want to give it a try, click that link down below. It does help support the channel. And if you're looking for more content for DFS or for player prop stuff, you can check my Patreon link down below. Okay, so let's recap everything before we get into the breakdown. So tonight went 3-1 on NBA props. Once again, another very solid night. And NBA DFS, well, came close to having the nuts, but could not get overtime in that Washington-Toronto game. Washington just completely laid an egg there in the fourth quarter. It was really an ownership thing, though, with like the Wizards, right? I tweeted about it before lock. Poole, Kuzma, Tyus Jones were all sub 5% ownership. Well, we're all projected for sub 5%. Poole came in at 2%. Kuzma came in at 3%. I think Tyus came in at like 0.5% or something. They were all smashing, literally did nothing in the fourth. Had they done something in the fourth quarter, I could have had a huge night. Currently winning $1,500 off 100, so not complaining. Probably going to go down a little bit more, though. Also, this tilts me beyond belief, man. Ran giga over-owned IO. And this is what I'm talking about with the fish, man. Complete fish play. Giga over-owned. Way too popular. And he just randomly closes over Kobe White. I have Kobe White. I have a chance to win a tournament. Kobe White's on the bench the whole fourth quarter. Right? It's like you can only laugh about that. And Ayo Dosunmu is like 50+% owned, way too popular, and he closes the game over Kobe White. And I have Kobe White, and I could win a tournament, but Kobe White rides the pine for the whole fourth. Like I said, it's just more proof that no one runs worse. But again, with the Wizards, it was the ownership versus chances of a success game. You know, I know that they troll with the rotations all the time, but there was no Gallinari, there was no DeLon Wright. So, you know, I was like, okay, I feel a little bit better about the minutes. And I think they're just too low owned for the chances of success. So, yeah, would have been nice if the unowned Wizards could have done, I don't know, anything in the fourth quarter. I probably would have had a takedown. But, yeah, we talked about a lot of guys that were over-owned, under-owned, like DeRozan was someone I did not want to play. We talked about that in tournaments, how I would rather play Levine or Vooch for less ownership because DeRozan was the guy that the field was flocking to. That worked out in a big way. I said Otto Porter was definitely over-owned. Now, I still played Otto Porter because I was already playing enough contrarian plays. I played Portis at 20%. I played Poole and Kuzma at 2% and 3% respectively. I played Malachi Flynn, right? So I was already playing enough low-owned guys. But we talked about how, like, Boucher in tournaments, those other Raptors bench guys I thought were just going overlooked. We also talked about how I thought Josh Hart was going overlooked. For some reason, Quickly was getting a lot of ownership. I said, why play chalk Quickly when you can play low on Josh Hart? So hit on a lot of things here. Again, came close to the nuts, but yeah, that's the recap of everything. Again, final lineup. I had basically a lot of exposures Washington Toronto game. So the night before, last night, I had 7 players from the Blazers-Lakers game. Tonight, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players from this Wizards and Raptors game, and then I had Kobe White and Bobby Portis in the Bulls and Bucks game. So that's a recap of everything. It's gonna be a really good night for me. We'll see exactly where I finish. Again, currently 15xing my money. Probably go down a little bit, but yeah, that's the recap. Again, hope you guys had a good night, and let's see if we can keep it going for this 10-game slate. So we'll start off with Miami and Charlotte. Miami, Hero's out. Jay Rich is probable. Caleb Martin is still out. So Lowry is back. You should get the starting lineup of Lowry, Duncan, Robinson, Jimmy Butler, Hayward, Highsmith, and Bam Adebayo. As far as the top end guys go, Bam and Jimmy in a good spot, both firmly in play. I think they're priced about right. You know, Bam's been playing much better than Jimmy. Jimmy's been quiet of late. Doesn't mean Jimmy can't have a good game. It's just, you know, normally in the regular season, he does take a little bit of a backseat, but again, this is a really good spot for him against the Hornets. Kyle Lowry, 5.9, should go right back to the starting lineup, should play low 30s minutes. I think he's a relatively safe play. Duncan Robinson's going to play big minutes. Kind of comes down to whether or not he can make his shots. So incredibly happy for him. Last game, we went for 40-plus fantasy points, breaking the scoring record. But when I played against Atlanta, 19 fantasy points. Yay! Highsmith, I think, continues to start 4.3K. I think he's reasonable value. I think I would give the edge to Jaime Jaquez off the bench, who has been playing well. Now, I don't think he plays 30-plus minutes, but yeah, I think Jaquez and Highsmith are both solid values. I think J-Rich probably plays the backup point, but is a bit too expensive there. So let's move on to Charlotte. Charlotte, we got no Terry Rozier. Brandon Miller's probable. Gordon Hayward is probable. LaMelo at the top of 10.4. We know the floor plus ceiling goes way up without Rozier. It's just a matter of, can this Hornets team keep it competitive? I think they can without Tyler Hero on the opposite side. So I do like LaMelo there at the top. Hayward feels priced about right. PJ feels a bit overpriced. Mark Williams, he's up, he's down. He's a fine tournament play. He's foul prone. Again, production's been all over the place, but a young player like this, you kind of expect that, right? We'll talk about a couple of guys like that with Wembanyama and Chet in a bit, who, their range of outcomes is very wide. Same with Mark Williams. So if you want to play low and Mark Williams in the slate, I'm not going to say no. The ceiling's there for him. Brandon Miller feels a bit pricey. I don't think I can stomach Teo Maledon or Nick Richards on the slate. So let's talk about Indiana and Philadelphia. Halliburton 10.2. I still have interest in him at the top. He should play mid-30s minutes, just a clear go-to guy. Have the ball in his hands a ton. No issue spending up for Halliburton. I think Turner feels priced about right. There is a bit of foul concerns, especially if Embiid plays. The rest of the team, again, they go with the hot hand of these wings. Mathurin is the guy I would say that probably has the highest ceiling, but again, 18, 49, 43, 18, right? If he's not playing well, they're not going to close them. So on a big slate, it depends on the ownership. If Mathurin's very low owned, way more inclined to play him. But if Mathurin's going to be relatively popular tomorrow, no way, right? Because in his range of outcomes is a game where he plays low 20s minutes and gets benched. That is in his range of outcomes. We've seen it multiple times. So if the field gravitates toward playing him, then I don't want to play him. If no one's playing him, then I'm more inclined to play Benedict Mathurin, right? And that's why I tried it in these videos. I always try to identify spots like, this. We've identified a lot of spots recently. We talk about it a ton in the Patreon stream. We go over everything. I do try to cover a couple of those spots in these videos as well. Jalen Smith, he's the backup big. Again, good point per minute guy. If Turner gets in foul trouble, he benefits. Not really much else to mention here. Obi Toppin's 3.9 minutes, not been amazing on him. Let's talk about Philadelphia. Embiid's questionable, that's huge. Also, Kelly Oubre's out. Got hit by a car. Looks like he'll be okay, but he's going to miss some time for sure. Now, if Embiid is out, Philadelphia would be my favorite team to target in the slate, and it won't be close. Paul Reed would be the best value in the slate. He would start at the 5. Maxey, Harris, Melton would be 3 of the best plays of the slate. I think Covington starts without Oubre and without Nick Batum. Covington would make a really good value either way. There would just be a ton to like here from Philadelphia if Embiid is out. If Embiid plays, Embiid himself at 11.5 still looks fine at the top. Maxey, the price is coming up, but I still think he's a good play. He's been playing out of his mind, just dominating usage, getting a ton of shots up, have this ball in his hands a good amount as well. So, yeah, I still like Tyrese Maxey. Happy for him. He's been a guy I've been high on for a while now. Tobias Harris, 6.4K, reasonable option if Embiid plays. He looks way better if Embiid does not play. Anthony Melton, kind of the same thing. Reasonable if Embiid Embiid plays, but looks a lot better if Embiid misses. Pat Bev, he'll be in the rotation. I don't think it's necessary. Robert Covington, I think, gets the start here. If he does, I like him for value because this team is kind of pretty thin at the wing position, right? So my guess is, without Oubre and without Batum, I think you get Covington in the starting lineup. That being said, I think he's a pretty good value play. You might get Marcus Morris dusted off, KJ Martin maybe for a bit. But I think it's Covington that starts, and if he does, I like him quite a bit. All right, let's talk about Atlanta and Detroit. So Atlanta, the big news is Trae Young. If Trae Young misses, we know what to do. We're going to play DeJounte Murray. We're going to play Bogdan Bogdanovic, right? Those two guys would stand out as really, really good plays if there's no Trae Young. Murray gets the massive usage bump. Bogdanovic should shift into the starting lineup, would be the secondary playmaker. They would both look really, really good. The wings would all look a little bit better, too, with Johnson and Hunter and Bey. The minutes have kind of been up and down. Johnson only played 22 minutes last game. Of course, Ida's over fantasy score that day. That tilts me. Again, Hunter, foul prone, but his minutes kind of up and down. Sadiq Bey's minutes have been a little bit up and down. They finally dusted off Wes Matthews and played him for a bit, but there's no way I'm playing Wesley Matthews in 2023. Capella and Okongwu, they're splitting the center position. You know what I'm going to say here. Capella feels priced for right, still has a ceiling. Okongwu, probably the easier guy to get to at 4.5K. And then if Trae Young plays, I like Trae at the top. Ceiling's clearly there, and it's a good spot against Detroit. Talking Detroit, so no Jalen Duren. You should get Marvin Bagley in the starting lineup. Bagley and Wiseman will play a good chunk at the center position, but they also will play Isaiah Stewart a bit at the 5. They probably close with Stewart at the 5. So Stewart also looks better with Duren out. Cade at 8K. Production's all over the place, but he's firmly in play for tournaments for me. Stuart Thompson's been pretty consistent, 7.1K. That feels priced about right, though. Again, I like Stewart at 5'7". I think he plays some small ball 5. With guys like Ivy and Burks back, kind of a tough time getting to like Sasser or Hayes. Alec Burks himself, a 4'6", I think is an okay punt play. You should get around 20 minutes from him. And then Wiseman, if Bagley gets in foul trouble, could benefit. But again, they're not splitting the full 48 minutes combined, right? Stewart is playing some small ball 5. Let's talk about Orlando. So no Markelle Fultz, no Wendell Carter Jr. I really like Suggs and Cole Anthony. Now, I don't know what happened here with Cole Anthony. Why did he only play 14 minutes last game? Was it just because he was playing that bad and got benched? He wasn't in foul trouble. I don't think he got injured. But that was kind of weird to see. But yeah, Jalen Suggs looks way better without Markelle Fultz. He played 38 minutes last game. I don't think he had 38 minutes again from him, but I like Suggs good amount. You should get Anthony Black in the starting lineup. He's not going to be super productive, but the minutes should be there. Reasonable value. Cole Anthony, you would assume, would play 25 to 30 minutes. Again, I don't know what happened last game. He looks better with Markelle Fultz out. Banchero and Franz are reasonable options there at the top. Bataze, Mo Wagner kind of splitting the center position. They're also not playing the full 48 combined, though. Last couple games they've been closing with Jonathan Isaac. I did want to mention Isaac, a 4.1K. The issue is, again, it's not like he's playing a ton of minutes either, so kind of hard to get to any of these bigs right now on a big slate. If I had to pick one, I think it would be Mo Wagner at 4.8. Moving on to Brooklyn. No Cam Thomas, no Ben Simmons. You do have Nick Claxton back. So top end, you got Mikal Bridges, 8.1K. Been a little bit quiet this year, but did have a big game last game. Fine for GPPs. Dinwiddie, the minutes have not been amazing on him of late, even with Cam Thomas and with Ben Simmons out. So that is a little bit concerning. If he was playing like 35 plus minutes, I would have a lot more interest in Dinwiddie. But again, the minutes have not been amazing on him. Claxton is 6'2". He should play around 30 minutes. Pretty solid option in the mid-range. Lonnie Walker's questionable. I do like Cam Johnson at 5'4". Looks like he's finally off his minutes restriction. Played 35 minutes last game. So a 5.4K Cam Johnson I think looks pretty good. I think I'd prefer him to like Dorian Finney-Smith and Royce O'Neal. Dennis Smith Jr. has been getting some decent run, but price point is about right. Day'Ron Sharpe will play a little bit, but again, his minutes are kind of all over the place as well. San Antonio and Oklahoma City. So San Antonio, a bit tricky to talk about. We have 3 guys that are questionable. Keldon Johnson, Jeremy Sochan, and Trey Jones. If all 3 miss, my guess for the starting lineup would probably be Branham moves in the starting lineup and McDermott. So I think they would probably go Branham, Vassell, McDermott, Wembanyama, Collins. My guess, if all 3 of those guys miss, Wembanyama, either way, is a good tournament play. Would look better if a lot of these guys miss. Zach Collins, 6.4K. Role wouldn't really change a ton, but he's decent. Devin Vassell would be a lot more usage if some of these starters are unable to play. And then, yeah, guys like Branham, Chetty Osman would benefit, McDermott. Like, they might even dust off Devontae Graham if a lot of these guys miss. So, could have some battle here for the Spurs, depending on what happens here. If Keldon, Sochan, and Trey Jones are all in, then I would say my favorite point per dollar play in the Spurs probably would be a 5.8K Jeremy Sochan. Stuff in the stat sheet, playing the point guard position, should see around 30 minutes. Oklahoma City, SGA, 10.3K. Always like him at the top. Price point feels about right. Maybe even a little bit underpriced, you could make the argument for. He's playing huge minutes. Chet Holmgren, same thing I said about Wembanyama. He's shown a pretty high ceiling, but also minutes kind of fluctuating, production fluctuating a bit. I still have interest in him for tournaments. Giddey feels a bit overpriced. Jalen Williams, 6.2. Should see low to mid 30s minutes. Always fine with him for tournaments. I don't think I can get to Dort or any of the bench guys, though, for the Thunder. Dallas and New Orleans, I just have, like, outside of the main guys for Dallas, I always have a really hard time getting to these, like, value plays because Jason Kidd, I just don't trust him whatsoever. But, yeah, Luka, 11.8K. If you had the salary for him, obviously has a high floor. Kyrie, 8.7. Had a big game last game. Price point feels about right for him. Tim Hardaway Jr., 5.4K. Should see high 20s minutes. Again, has a ceiling if he's making his shots. The bigs, kind of hard to figure out what they want to do. Lively 4.9K. Again, they got Dwight Powell. They can go small. Like, I don't trust this Dallas rotation whatsoever. Grant Williams' minutes have not been amazing of late. Derrick Jones Jr. has been playing well, but I think he had a pretty bad game last game. I don't have a good read. Josh Green will see rotation minutes. Like I said, outside of Luka and Kyrie, I always have a hard time clicking any of these secondary Mavs. Talk about the Pelicans. No CJ. Herb Jones is questionable. If Herb Jones misses, it opens up a lot of value here. Again, I played unowned Dyson Daniels, who was absolutely breaking the slate last game. Ran a massive blowout to punish me. More proof, right? More proof. Absolutely no one runs worse. But yeah, if there's no Herb Jones, you're going to get Daniels, Hawkins, Ingram, Zion, and JV in the starting lineup. Daniels would probably be my favorite point per dollar play again. Absolutely no one wanted him last slate. I was the only one that played him. Would like him again. Hawkins, 5.8K. This guy's really been pissing me off, but has a ceiling. He's making his shots. JV. Minutes have not been great on him, but he'll be productive when he's on the court. Ingram and Zion, 8.5 and 8.4K respectively without CJ, I think are decent options. The Pelicans have been running pretty tight rotations when the game's competitive, but again, last game was a massive blowout. All right, Portland and Utah. Portland, you should get the same starting lineup of Mays, Sharp, Thibault, Grant, and Ayton. I think Mays would probably be my favorite point per dollar play here. Randomly barely played the third quarter. I still don't know what happened there. But yeah, 6.7K. Still like some Skylar Mays. Shaden Sharp, Grant, and Ayton, all reasonable options. They should play 35-plus minutes in a competitive game. Thibault minutes have not been great, and he's also not the best point per minute guy, so don't love it. Kamara dealt a bit of foul trouble last game. He should see mid-20s minutes. I don't really know what to do with this bench. You might see some Bouye in the rotation, some Duop, Reef, Jabari Walker. It's a pretty gross bench rotation for Portland. Talk about Utah. So Walker Kessler once again out. I assume they continue to start John Collins. Played 38 minutes last game. With John Collins starting at the 5, I think he's a solid option. Now, the production's been a little bit down on him. He's been averaging mid-20s fantasy points a game, but still think he's a decent option there. Markkanen, 8.7. Always has a ceiling. Jordan Clarkson's been a bit up and down, but we know he has 40-plus fantasy point upside. He's gone for 40-plus back-to-back games. My boy, Keontae George, finally been starting last couple games. Now, has not been shooting the ball that well, but actually has been playing good basketball. 11 and 9 assists over the last couple games. I think he's a solid value play. Should see around 30 minutes. He is, a future piece for this Utah Jazz for sure. No thank you on THT. Sexton minutes have not been great, but he'll be productive when he is on the court. You probably see high teens minutes from him. Agbachi is the other guy that has been starting 26 and 30 minutes over the last couple games. Not really the best point per minute guy. Last game, be a little bit careful. Shot 6 of 8 and had 2 blocks and a steal. Can't expect that again from Ochai Agbachi, who with these starters, a lower usage player. Don't really think I can get to Fettuccine Alfredo. It's not necessary, or anyone else in Utah. Clippers and Nuggets, I'll make it pretty simple for the Clippers. I don't have much interest in this team right now. You want to target one of the big 4 guys of Paul George, Kawhi, James Harden, Westbrook, be my guest, but none of them stand out. Without Plumlee, you would think Zubac against a big Denver team probably plays a bit more, but you never know. They've been playing Musa Diabate as the backup 5 just because the team is very thin. They could also, I guess, try to go small with PJ Tucker. A little bit interested in Zubac for tournaments. That's about it. For Denver, gotta love Jokic, 12-2. I mean, look at what he's done in the last 5 games. This guy is insane. He's averaging like 75 fantasy points a game. He went for 85 fantasy points last game. Like, it is incredible. He should be able to feast against Zubac or Diabate or whoever they try to throw on him. Jokic should be able to feast. Gordon, MPJ in the mid-range. They look a little bit better without Jamal Murray. Their minutes have also ticked up as well. Reggie Jackson, 5.3, should see around 30 minutes. Reasonable option there. KCP's role doesn't really change. Not much else for the Denver value. Minnesota, Golden State, Ant, Cat, 9.1 and 8.1K respectively. I think both are good point per dollar plays. We saw kind of Ant get into it Draymond last game. Ant's played very well of late. I think he is a bit underpriced. Also has a nice eligibility shooting guard, small forward. Karl-Anthony Towns has been playing a bit better of late, averaging 50 fantasy points over the last couple of games. Gobert, I think I would just rather spend up for Cat or for Ant. And a lot of these other rotation guys are like solid options. They're all like secondary plays, though. If you land in these guys, they're fine, but no one I'm prioritizing. Like Conley's decent, should see around 30 minutes. My boy Naz Reid should see around 20 minutes. McDaniel, Slow-Mo, okay options, but No one I'm going to like go out of my way to play. For Golden State, it really just depends on Steph Curry. If Steph Curry's in, there's not much here. If Steph Curry's out, that changes a ton. If there's no Steph Curry, I really like Golden State. Chris Paul would probably be my preferred option. He would start the point guard position. A lot more usage for Clay, more usage for Wiggins. Some of these value plays would even be in consideration. Guys like Moody and Gary Payton. Minga probably sees a little bit more run. Like, everyone would just look way better if there's no Steph Curry. So Golden State is really just depends on Steph. If Steph's in, I'm probably not doing much of this team. You can consider Steph for tournaments. If Steph is out, I like a lot from Golden State. Finally, Memphis and the Lakers. So Tillman's questionable if he misses. Biyombo should pick up the start. But yeah, Bane, Triple J, these are the guys with the high ceilings. Bane at 9K, again, price about right. Jaren at 8.3 also feels like a correct price point. Jaren also very up and down because he's super foul prone. Marcus Smart, 6.2K, I think you could argue is one of the safer options. But again, he's kind of been up and down too. Bernard got a price bump. Aldama's minutes have not been great. Gilliard's been starting last couple games. If he starts again, you can consider him. But the issue with Gilliard is like he's not a big part of this rotation. So like he doesn't have to play big minutes, right? So that is the concern there. Dyer moved to the bench and barely played. Roddy will see rotation minutes. You probably see a little bit of Conchar, but not a lot that I love for Memphis. And finally, the Lakers. AD probable, LeBron questionable. LeBron news is huge, right? If LeBron misses, well, it's a similar story to last slate. I played, 5 Lakers last slate? I would be heavy on the Lakers once again if there's no LeBron. AD would stand out as one of my favorite spend-ups in the slate. Played 41 minutes last game. D'Lo, sorry guys, again, I'm still a bit under the weather. D'Lo, price points is right if LeBron is out. He's overpriced if LeBron is in. But some of these other options would still look good. Reeves off the bench would look solid if there's no LeBron. I would like Rui a good amount. He played 33 minutes last game without LeBron James. Christian Wood, role really didn't change. Honestly, minutes went down a bit. And then you got Reddish and Prince. So this won't come down to ownership with these guys, right? Everyone wanted Taurean Prince last slate. He was a bust. I said I preferred Reddish and Rui at a fraction of ownership. They both smashed. Now, if it flips now if everyone wants Cam Reddish because last game, I would rather play Taurean Prince. So with these wings, if I'm going to play one of these guys, I'm going to look at ownership's going to play a big factor in what I do, right? If it flips now and everyone wants to play Cam Reddish, I'm going to prefer playing Taurean Prince. So that is how I'm going to go about with those Lakers wings. And so that's going to wrap up the video, guys. As always, if you do enjoy, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Really appreciate the support, and we'll see you guys in the next video.